has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast, in the biggest way possible, hanging out the bad seed, the broken ain't a bad apple with a bad attitude, hanging around with your boy Carver High, the master of ceremonies, the guru of all golf gangsters. He's got all of the hits, the tutties, the taters, making you money, fat stacks, mafia running it with Luke, I am your father. We're in the Big Apple, of course, New York City. Ooh, people dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion. Carver High, we got a lineup today, and it's running like this. Gabe Morency, a double shot from Vancouver, plus Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News, and Coach James Young, our hoop analyst. We'll talk RAC and WNBA playoffs. There's a lot going on. It's the final week of baseball, important games. They got day ball going on right now, Tampa and Detroit. And then we're going to hit all of last night's games, everything that went down. The doubleheader, your Bills rocked it. And how about the Commanders winning in Cincy in the jungle? A huge upset. They were getting 7.5. No one thought they could do it. I didn't think they could do it, but they did it. And Daniels was unbelievable in that game.
He certainly was, Scotty, indeed. Happy Tuesday here on Coast to Coast. And we are going to talk about those two games. We do have an afternoon game. I don't know why they're playing on a Tuesday afternoon in Detroit today, but they are to open this series with the Rays. Scoreless, bottom 5, although the Tigers do have first and second with one out in the bottom of the 5th inning here. Skubal's going for the Tigers today. He's pitched great, 5 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts, doing a great job. As we know, Scotty, Tigers tied with the Royals for the last 2 wild card spots in the AL, with the Twins, 1 game back. Everybody plays today. We're down the stretch we come here. Sunday's the last day of the regular season. Every win matters at this point. So Detroit, definitely a game of significance that we'll be watching throughout Coast to Coast here to see if they can get that one going. Oh, is that right? Mav says the game was moved up because they're supposed to have storms tonight, Scotty. How about that? A team being proactive about the weather in their city, unlike Atlanta, who's going to try to squeeze all those games in with the Mets in the next few days when it's going to pour down there with a storm bearing down on the southeast. So nice job by them.
Skubal is getting the Cy Young. He's not giving up runs. He's incredible every time he pitches. I want to see them in the playoffs. They're a tough team. They played great. I want to see hot teams in the postseason, not teams that are cold. Skubal's a badass.
He is a badass, indeed. So we'll see if the Tigers can push one across here. We got both of these games from last night to talk about. And you know what? The Bills was a smash job. We'll get to that in a moment. I think Daniel, Scotty, and what he did with Washington last night was really the story there. And then we had 3 weeks in a row now. The biggest dog on the board, on the betting board, wins outright, which is amazing, with Washington winning in Cincinnati against the Bengals. Survivor pools get destroyed all over once again. Bengals 0-3. But I thought Daniel, Scotty, outstanding. The dime he threw to McLaurin to really put the nail in the coffin in that game. He ran the ball. He threw the ball. Everything you wanted to see from Jayden Daniels was outstanding.
How many props did you hit last night? Every one of them? How many did you hit?
For the touchdowns, it was a really good night. We had Chase at 7-1 for first touchdown in the second game. We had Dalton Kincaid at plus 250. We had Terry McLaurin at plus, what was he, 340, I think McLaurin was. I gotta get
in Cook. He scored
he
first.
threw Cook in there. It was a very, very good night for touchdown scores.
Well, he was almost flawless. What was he? 21-23, 254, and 11 clip, 2 tutties. He ran one in. He had the great sneak where he hid the ball and he fooled the defense. I thought he was incredible, and he's breaking records. He's putting up huge numbers. They're winning. Quinn's stoked. Their offense is lighting it up. I thought his pass to McLaurin was right on the money. Back of the end zone, clutch. And they just scored whenever they needed to. And the Bengals could never answer. I mean, they just had them right where they wanted them, and they got it done on the road. And now, Cincy 0-3, their season basically is over.
What a shame for them to start 0-3. I mean, what a shame in the AFC North to have the Bengals at 0-3, and they got to go face their old quarterback this week, right? The Red Rocket, who's hot after beating Vegas last week. So Andy Dalton and the Panthers have the Bengals coming to town on Sunday for that one. What a shame.
Team that I would think would be 0-3. People thought they were a playoff team, a Super Bowl team.
No doubt.
They want to give Chase the money. They can't be stopped. We're better than the Chiefs. Look at us. And then all they do is lose.
No doubt about it. Everybody said Joe Burrow, healthy, all that. 0-3. Just unlucky. That's how it goes sometimes. But as Burrow's going to tell us later, there's 14 games left. Yeah, you can only say that for so long. Then there's 13, then there's 12. You got eventually you got to start winning some football games. I guess you could say the same about the Jags in the other game, right? They're 0-3 now, and they're in big trouble. They got absolutely smashed, pillar to post. The destruction by the Buffalo Bills last night, Scotty, and I was very pessimistic coming into this season, really, as a whole. I thought the new pieces, Josh has a lot of new faces around him. Might take a little time to make this work. I guess not. I guess he's made it work fairly quickly because they scored every time they had the ball last night.
How many times did they score for every time they touched it? I mean, it was unbelievable.
Touchdown every time in the first half. 5 touchdowns in the first half. And then the game was basically a scrimmage for the second half. So you really couldn't even go with that. And it's everyone. Like, the life after Diggs. What's Allen going to be like without Diggs? Kincaid, Shakir, Coleman, Samuel. I mean, him. He's just throwing the ball to everybody that is out there. And I'll give you the numbers later. He's now the favorite. I know it's 3 weeks. There's a lifetime left. He's the favorite for the MVP, as I said to you a week or two ago. If he wins and they go 13-4 or whatever it is with this newly revamped roster, he's going to win the MVP this year, and he's off to a hell of a start for it.
Dude, the first 5 times they had it, they scored. He had 4 TDs, and the Jags could do nothing. And he's, loving life. He's feeling good, lighting it up, spreading it around, like you said. 22 of 28 for 247 in the first 30 minutes. I mean, the game was over. It was unbelievable. I had to switch to the other game because that game was so done and boring. The other game was better.
Yeah, well, that's why they should have 2 games every Monday night, right? They should give us 2 games every Monday night in case that happens. You could easily flip over because it was a better game, the Cincinnati and Washington game. But sure enough, Bills, destruction. They're 3-0. And they're in prime time again next week, Sunday night in Baltimore against the Ravens for a Sunday night game. So Ravens coming off their first win in Dallas. So that should be a good one with the Bills and the Ravens.
I think they'll start winning now that they've won and they got their groove on. They had a big lead against Dallas, and now they're going to play this team. So I think, when you look at the Ravens, they keep rolling, I think, from that win. And I think Buffalo's already rolling. He didn't even have to finish the game. Mitch came in for him late. I like seeing Coleman and Shakir step up and make big plays. Guys that are, fresh on the scene, especially the kid out of Florida State. Now he's catching tutties. Ty Johnson stepping up big. So there was all kinds of guys producing last night. Cook's unstoppable. They look good.
He certainly does. So we'll go through all that. We'll start to turn the page to week number 4, which starts, of course, Thursday night at the Meadowlands, Cowboys and the Giants. I got a lot of college football that I'm going to get to you today. We'll do more. Start to really dive into that Alabama-Georgia game in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night. And all the baseball. We told you about Detroit. Yankees-Orioles tonight. Yankees can win the AL East and probably have another celebration. Mets-Braves, enormous series. The Diamondbacks lost last night to San Francisco, so they need to get back on track tonight. Some very important games, Scotty, throughout baseball that we have to get to.
Tons of that, but I mean, that game Thursday night with the Cowboys coming to Snoopy is going to be good. To see if the G-Men can put 3 games together with offense where they're scoring tutties and give Dallas a game. I'm looking forward to that. Baseball playoffs right around the corner doing push-ups. Let's dance. Shake it.
do we have a fantasy star on our hands here, George? Here is the question with Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. A lot of folks went into the fantasy season saying, hey, look, maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, but it could be the next best thing. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right, but I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who can move, right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore because you want that additional rushing yards. You get 50, 60 yards down, right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable, right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. We know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But I do have hope for him. I think at season's end he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson's going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
SportsGrid at 10 every night on all of our affiliates, radio, on the streaming networks, TV stations. He's on coast to coast every day, a double shot from Vancouver. Gabe, what do you think of your Bills now with that performance last night in the Below? They lit it up.
Absolutely. Buffalo Blitzkrieg last night. One of those perfect nights for Bills Mafia. Monday Night Football, they're all lit. And, the Bills are absolutely destroying the opposition. Great start to the season for the Buffalo Bills. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. You know what? We're still in the month of September right now. There's a lot of racetrack left to go in this National Football League season, but you've got to rack up wins. And it doesn't matter whether you win now or you win later. They all count at the end of the year. Great start, Scott. I tell you what, Josh Allen's playing the best football in the NFL right now. There's a lot of bad quarterback play. There's a couple of guys that are lighting it up, but I don't like the odds right now. Josh Allen's all the way down to plus 225 to win the most valuable player. But if you look at the other players, like he's the MVP. He's a slam dunk MVP of the NFL right now. Patrick Mahomes is actually the second choice. Mahomes isn't doing anything. It's not like Mahomes is having a great year or anything like that or putting up big numbers. Josh Allen is winning and putting up numbers. I'll tell you, Scott, Buffalo's been knocking on the door, obviously, for years. And this McDermott team and Allen been knocking on the door. And people talk about, they missed this, they missed that. Josh Allen is going into his prime right now, you could argue. He's still a young guy. He still has a ton of football left in his career. But the Bills seem to have a different edge this year, Scott. At times in the past, in times in the past, in a blowout, they'd all be laughing on the sidelines, and we're so great. And now, you notice, they're all business. They just keep the pedal to the metal. They're all business in practice. It's a much more intense attitude, not overly stressful, but there's sort of listen, no more screwing around. We got to get home field advantage. Let's not just say, we'll turn it on later. No. Let's win every freaking game that we can. Get the best possible home field advantage that we can in the playoffs, and get to the damn Super Bowl. Because Josh Allen's done everything that he can except get to the Super Bowl, right? And they look like a Super Bowl caliber team to me, Scott.
Do you think they can win in Baltimore in this next game? Because that's a tough one.
Well, this is sort of a real statement game, right? Let's not get carried away. And I don't want to rain on the parade of the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Seattle Seahawks or even the Buffalo Bills. But, all right, the Bills got, they knocked 2 out of the game. They played Skylar Thompson. It was kind of a weird game. They beat Arizona in week 1, and Jacksonville are terrible. So this is the Bills' first, real test. All right, you're going on the road. You're playing Baltimore coming off the win. I think Buffalo are better than Baltimore are. I don't think Baltimore are great. I think Baltimore have their flaws. I think Dallas are that sort of, we all know Dallas can't stop the run. So we'll see. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to run the ball down the Buffalo Bills' throat in the same way. I know the Bills' offense will be better than the Cowboys. I actually do like the Bills in this spot. I don't like Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator. I mean, everything worked out for them because they had the big lead against Dallas. But in close games, you and I talked about it. Baltimore, Harbaugh, and Todd Monken, they find a way to lose these close games. So, yes, I think the Bills are all business right now, and they're going to beat the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday, I think.
So everybody said that all they do is run, but they were throwing it like crazy last night. He was going off to so many different guys. What did you think of the way he spread it around? Kincaid, Cook, and he caught some. Shakir, Coleman, everybody got a piece. I mean, everybody was eating, and they ran the ball for $122. They did both.
What a difference a year makes, Scott, right? With number 14 not yelling on the sidelines and flipping out. It's almost symbolic. You cannot, if you're the Buffalo Bills, when they show up to practice, off day today, they show up to practice tomorrow, they cannot be in a better mood. Everybody gets a piece, Scott. If you're part of the, you know what I mean? This is a team effort. Right? Don't worry. Don't think, I'm never going to get a touchdown. And no, let's hook Ty Johnson up. He works hard. Let's hook him up with a TD right now. They spread it around. And I'll tell you what, Keon Coleman's only going to get better and better, guys. You're starting to see him figure it out right now and find the little pockets and get open. And, we all overreact. It's the kid's third game in the NFL. You know what I mean? And we see. The week before, he was a bigger impact. In week 1, he really wasn't an impact. So now we're starting to see he's starting to become a bigger impact in this offense. They're so diverse. They have a lot of good players. And we didn't even get to James Cook, Scott, who's playing elite football right now. The Bills are balling. That's all we can say. Point blank.
What about their defense? I mean, all we hear about is Allen, but everybody, they gave them nothing last night. They made them look so awful. I mean, they couldn't do a thing in the game. They couldn't run. They couldn't pass. Lawrence looks awful. People are going to give up on them. They're done. Their season's over. You start wondering about the coach and the coaching staff. I mean, they look terrible, and I think Buffalo did that to them.
Buffalo's defensive line have been terrorizing teams. Don't forget, they were drilling the Dolphins before Tua got hurt in that game, right? So they were killing him. They terrorized Kyler Murray in the second half. They've really come alive, and I'll be the first to admit, Scott, and I'm sure you would agree. And not in a million years. I thought Von Miller was done, bro. Von Miller was one of the worst signings in Bills history. He gave us absolutely nothing for 2 years. Now he could barely play. When he played, he was ineffective. There was off-field issues. Nothing. And suddenly, man, I don't know, he's hanging out with Keith Richards and he got a blood transfusion or something, but he looks like he's 28 years old suddenly. Von Miller is flying around, man. It's
whoa. Crazy.
It's really nuts. And Rousseau, I told you, Rousseau's a badass, bro, out of Miami. He's a really good football player. They're just good. They're not star players. People think, the Bills don't have star players, just Josh Allen. They have a bunch of really good football players. They're a well-coached team. Got to tip our cap to Joe Brady, too. Offensive coordinator, doing an awesome job. And I'm sure we'll get to Jayden Daniels. And listen, Daniels is a stud, but you know who deserves a ton of credit for this? Cliff Kingsbury. The play calling, the offense that they're running, beautiful stuff from Cliff Kingsbury.
I mean, did you see them last night? The staff, when Quinn is coaching and then he's calling plays, Kingsbury, and then it comes through and it works and they're chest bumping. Everybody's going crazy on the sideline. They're, stacked wins. They're fired up. Everybody loves their gig. They're happy.
Another team in the zone, Scott. Exactly.
There before.
Yeah, I know what a difference the coaching staff makes, huh?
No doubt.
do we have a fantasy star on our hands here, George? Here is the question with Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. A lot of folks went into the fantasy season saying, hey, look, maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, but it could be the next best thing. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right, but I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who could move, right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore because you want that additional rushing yards. You know, you get 50, 60 yards, that's a touchdown, right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable, right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. We know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But, you know, I do have hope for him. I think at season's end, he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low-end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson's going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
What do you think of this kid Jayden Daniels and that team? I mean, they play tough, and they had Cincy all night right where they wanted them. It got close at 31-26, but I never thought that the Bengals were going to win the game.
I'm done doubting Jayden Daniels, and I'll be the first to admit I've always liked him, Scott, but I was the first to admit when he left Arizona State to go to LSU, oh, I don't know about this. Yeah, you were good at Arizona State. You're kind of skinny. You're going to get lit up in the SEC. Well, no, he won the Heisman Trophy in the SEC. And coming into the draft, I thought, all right, you know what? People really, really loved him. You know, he wasn't as small as I thought. He got bigger. Like I said, every time I sort of doubt something about the kid, he proves me wrong. And I got knocked out of the Circus Survivor last night because of Jayden Daniels. The dream is dead. We're still in the Super Contest, so we're still playing for real money this year. But, yeah, the dream is dead, Scott. And, you know, I can be upset about it, but what the hell can you do? The kid went 21 of 23. He's throwing dimes like 45, 50 yards in the air, and they're dropping it in a bucket in the end zone in McLaurin with the game on the line. Like, you know, one clutch play after another. Right. And the decision-making. It's not just like the decision-making. But I want to say, I got to give credit to Cliff Kingsbury. And I said it last night during the game. I said, basically, he looks like he's at LSU. He's that comfortable right now. Remember, he just walked it into the end zone. They were trolling the Bengals defense, Scott, throwing to fat guys and offensive linemen for touchdowns. Like the Bengals DC just got carved up by Cliff Kingsbury last night. But a lot of sports, it sort of trickles up, right? Like, oh, what the pros do, the little leaguers will do, etc. Football is different. And in a modern era, these and even the old school smart coaches, they're copying college right now, not the other way around. Like, college is the one that's innovative, and you see these players run this stuff in college, and then they don't do it in the NFL, right? They run this like strict NFL system. Andy Reid is the first to admit it. He basically said we took like 10 to 12 plays that we liked from Texas Tech that Mahomes ran well, and we sort of tweaked them a bit. And, like, Reed is watching every college game and every play and every little, you know what, I like that little sweep. I like this. Cliff Kingsbury basically ran a Texas Tech / LSU offense last night. It was very college-like. Spread out, RPO, quick decision. If it's there, throw it here. If not, take off. If it's here, go deep. Very simplified, but executed to perfection, Scott. And next to impossible to stop. They're a dangerous team. You imagine being an offensive coordinator and watching that game last night and thinking, I don't want to play this kid in this offense. You don't know where they're going either. Every play, like the play calling was magnificent. Run the ball, throw deep, throw short. It was like a yo-yo. It was like Cliff Kingsbury just had a yo-yo all night. And little trick, you know what I mean? Very impressive. Going to be a fun game against Arizona this week, Scott. I'm expecting a track meet. One thing we should know, Washington defense is not good. So let's not get carried away as far as the whole big picture here. Right. They're going to be in a lot of track meets, right? The Giants punted twice against them. The Bengals didn't punt last night. The Buccaneers put 37 on them in week 1. So, and it's ironic because you got Dan Quinn, but I'm telling you, Scott, my prediction is in 2 years, the Commanders, maybe next year, but they're going to be the future of this division. The Giants are spinning their wheels right now. They're going to need Daniel. They're going to get a new quarterback next year, so they're sort of in this building process. The Cowboys are going backwards, Scott. Like they're stuck in quicksand. They're not getting any better. It's not like, oh yeah, the Cowboys are going to take over the NFL in the next couple of years. The Eagles are kind of aging a bit. They're kind of in their prime right now. This is Washington's division in a year or two, Scott. Point blank.
Have you ever seen a kid throw a rookie 91% of his passes? I mean,
no,
that's unbelievable.
Like I said, not just like for a rookie. That was one of the best performances in Monday Night Football history.
Of anyone.
Of anyone. Yeah, of anyone.
And then, the thing that was weird was Burrow put up huge numbers, but lost. It didn't matter. His big night, 324, 3 TDs, and they still lost.
Dude, and they ran the ball successfully. Don't forget that. The Bengals put up like 456 yards of offense and lost. Right? Like I said, there's a lot of frustration in Cincinnati right now. I get it. They've got a lot of problems, and we can get into that later in the week, but it wasn't their offense last night. Their defense let them down. Like their defense didn't get a stop. I mean,
I guess the only thing they did well was he threw well, Chase had a big game, but they're still 0-3. It's unbelievable. No one saw that.
And they could lose to Andy Dalton this week. They lose to Dalton this week, it really is over. The only thing that's saving them is the fact that the Browns are 1-2 and the Ravens are 1-2 and could lose again this weekend.
I think they're already finished.
Do we have a fantasy star on our hands here, George? Here is the question with Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. A lot of folks went into the fantasy season saying, hey, look, maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, but it could be the next best thing. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right? But I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who could move. Right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore because you want that additional rushing yards. You get 50, 60 yards, that's a touchdown. Right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable. Right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. We know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But I do have hope for him. I think at season's end he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson's going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
course, Mike DeCourcy joins us every week from the Sporting News. He's a legend. You see him on Fox Sports, Big Ten Network doing hoops. He comes on here and rages about everything, soccer, you name it. So, Mike, the conferences are changing again. Are you buying that Gonzaga's going? Are you buying the Utah State story? Some people are refuting it. Some people say it's legit. Where do you think all these teams end up when it's all said and done?
Well, there's also a lawsuit that was filed today by the Pac-12 against the penalty fees that would be due the Mountain West for taking certain members of their league. So it really has become wild in the last week. What's interesting to me is that there's this level of interest, even though we're talking about the zombie Pac-12 and the Mountain West and the American Conference, leagues that don't usually get that much attention. So maybe a little bit of expansion talk is good for them because it puts their product in the spotlight some. I'm not sure where the Pac-12 ends up at this point. I didn't like their strategy at all for what they did. I thought that, honestly, that what the Pac-12 and Mountain West should have done was cooperate, put together a league that added Oregon State and Washington State to the existing Mountain West, and then just decide which is a better brand. Mountain West is a pretty cool name. Pac-12 is a really powerful name that's been around for a long time. Decide which is a better brand and go from there. Instead, they decided to fight each other. And I don't think that the strategy of the reanimated Pac-12 has been good. They did not have a good handle on their attempt to raid the American Conference. And look, first of all, if you go after Tulane, Scott, I mean, you do not know what you're doing. You don't want to get Tulane. Tulane's a wonderful university, and New Orleans is a cool city. But you don't want that athletic program. Even though the football program has gotten better competitively on the field, it's still not a prime program. Its history is so up and so down. It's not one that's been consistent. The addition of Tulane to the Big East back in 2013, I believe it was what precipitated the basketball school saying, the heck with this. We're out of here. We're going somewhere else and doing our own thing. So I didn't like the fact that the Pac-12 did that. And then to get rejected by Tulane, Memphis, and USF shows they really didn't have a good plan. They should have been all in on Vegas, which offers so much in terms of the possibility of what the Rebels could become, what they have been many times in basketball. And hey, Scott, the worst case scenario, if you add Vegas, what is it? The worst case scenario is your team goes on the road, gets a W, and all your fans get to go to Vegas. How do you not want them in your league?
Are they staying in the Mountain West? That's their plan. And do you think that I talked about this earlier yesterday about St. Mary's? Why are they being left out? Because they're pretty good at hoops too.
Well, it comes down to the fact that in the case of St. Mary's, they have a magnificent basketball program, but not one that is believed to have endurance, and it doesn't have great national appeal. It has had great success nationally, but it's not like a lot of people are turning on the television when St. Mary's is there, unless they're playing Gonzaga, which is a brand that draws people to the television set and is why there is some interest in the Pac-12 in adding them as a basketball member. I'm not sure where Vegas goes because they were pretty much firm on staying in the Mountain West when they weren't initially invited by the Pac-12. And then the idea that Utah State might cross the line there and go to the Pac-12 sort of destabilized Vegas's interest in remaining in the Mountain West. So we don't know where it's going to end up at this point. As you said, even Utah State's interest in the Pac-12 now seems to be dubious. I just think that the Pac-12 strategy here was really poor. And why should we be surprised now? Because whoever's been in charge, the Pac-12 in the last 15 years has made very few good moves, from hiring Larry Scott to letting him run things as he did, to then when he departed, to then asking for a king's ransom for their television rights and seeing a reasonable contract go to the Big 12 instead that could have belonged to the Pac-12. They haven't. When's the last time they made a good move? When they decided they wanted UCLA, maybe? Was that the last time?
But I mean, do you really? I never thought it should have, broken up. I seriously, I thought it was a great conference. Maybe they had bad decision, bad people running it. Who knows? I never thought it should have ended. And I think that they're trying to save it is a good thing. And I loved it. You didn't like watching those basketball games and the West Coast football games?
I really was rooting hard for the Pac-12 to remain together. I understood why USC and UCLA left with the opportunity they had to make the money they would make and to compete at the level that the Big Ten will compete with the SEC, et cetera. I understood that. After that, I was hopeful that the Pac-12 would survive. But, Scott, they did it to themselves. At that point, their contract was worth X number of dollars, and they asked for X plus, and they stood firm at X plus, and it backfired on them because the ESPN said, okay, we'll just go sign up the Big 12 instead, and you guys can do whatever you want to do. And then there was no one left to bid for them. At that point, Fox wasn't interested, and there were only so many players in this market. The only other player at that point was Apple, which meant going entirely online, and the money would have been sufficient, but they felt skeptical about whether they'd be able to recruit in an entirely online world, an entirely streaming world, and so they balked at that. And then before long, you saw Oregon and Washington peel off to the Big Ten, and then it was pretty much over.
When you saw USC go to Michigan, play them in, the Big House, did you think that, them and UCLA and these, Washingtons and Oregons going there in the end was a good idea? It was such a great game, and the future looks bright with those types of games. It was such a heavyweight tilt. It could have been a national championship. You remember my whole life you'd watch Michigan play USC in the Rose Bowl, but never in this setting in a Big Ten game.
I think that it's been very good for the conferences that have expanded and survived. I think that it's been very good for the viewers. And I think there's been much too much histrionics about the travel for the non-revenue sports. And I pointed out in the column that I wrote last week about why this is good or can be good. The Pitt volleyball team, I live in Pittsburgh. Pitt's volleyball team is number one in the country. They have yet to lose a set. I think they are 9-0 at this point. They have won 27 consecutive sets. That's how good they are. They began their season by going to Oregon and playing 2 matches out there. Then, after coming home for 1, then they went on the road to Southern California and played 3 matches out there. All of them were non-league matches. None of them were mandatory. They chose to do it. Why? Because it would make them better. Fine by me. Whatever makes you better and whatever you feel comfortable doing, fine. But at no point did Pitt say, we can't go to the coast twice in the first 3 weeks of the season. It'll tire our players out. No, they went for it. They played great. As I mentioned, they played perfectly. And now they're in the situation that they are joining the ACC competition soon. And they'll play some more regional opponents, but also at some point, they'll probably have to play Stanford and Cal home or away. And so somebody's going to have to travel. That's the way it is now. And I think that the concern about the non-revenue travel, as long as it can be afforded, and it certainly can be afforded at the Big Ten and SEC level, I don't see any problem at all.
Who do you like in the Georgia-Bama game Saturday in Tuscaloosa?
I think the Tide's going to shock them.
Really?
I think Kalen DeBoer is a magnificent coach. Jalen Milroe has played great. And Georgia, man, we saw them against Kentucky. Did not look like they were vintage Georgia. So we'll see how it goes. But I favor the Tide.
They still won the game. It's amazing how they dropped. They won the game. It doesn't matter, I guess, if you win by 1 or you win by 20. They'll screw you if you're as good as they are. I was surprised they dropped.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What
in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
What do you got off of this game in the jungle? I know you got some reaction to Washington winning. Daniel, some of the plays. I know you have some of this action because he looked great.
We certainly do. Final score, as we mentioned earlier, 38-33. Washington with the win on the road in Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. Jayden Daniels was spectacular. Here it is, Scotty, the play for me. You know, they had a big third down in Cincinnati territory. Could have, kind of ran the ball, killed some clock, got a field goal and win up 8. No. Cliff Kingsbury tells the kid, throw it deep to Terry McLaurin. Here it is, ESPN, ABC.
They've only got 10 guys on the field. 3rd down and 7. This one is launched from McLaurin. He's got it. Touchdown. Touchdown, Terry McLaurin.
I mean, it's unbelievable. He was throwing dimes, and that guy... You called it with the prop bet, and it happened. Everything happened last night. This guy was dead on throwing the ball. That was clutch. He was clutch. They were clutch. I like their play calling. I mean, they're exciting. I haven't seen them look this good. You get your hands on a good quarterback, and obviously this guy's, Heisman winner, and he may be better, just like last year. We thought it was Young. I thought it was Stroud. Stroud's better. Same thing this time around. This guy, Caleb Williams, doesn't look like this guy. Daniels looks better. I don't care what anybody says.
He looks, it does have some similarities so far through 3 weeks to last year. And I think that there's also similarities in the kind of situations that they're in, right? You know, Houston last year was a team, new coach in Ryans, new offensive system with Slowick. They bring Stroud in, kind of stabilize some things. Washington changes things up this year. Dan Quinn, Kingsbury, new philosophy. And what's Chicago? Same old, where they plopped Williams. Carolina last year, where they plopped Bryce Young. Situations make a big deal. Washington, first team in the Super Bowl era to go 2 consecutive games with no punts and no turnovers. That's right. So remember, they didn't score any touchdowns against the Giants the week before, but they scored field goals every single time that they went down the field. So, and I think Gabe gave you the other one, Scotty, which was both teams, no turnovers, no punts for the first time since 1940 in the game itself. So we always want offense. I tell you all the time, I hate the boring primetime games. 38-33, not a boring primetime game. We did a good job with that last night.
If you don't turn the ball over and you don't punt the ball and you don't make mistakes, you win games. It's that simple, and that's the way they're playing. Those like no error games. I mean, if you're not punting and you're not having, fumbles, picks, you're going to win. And that's it. You control the ball. You don't make mistakes. I mean, that's what I think in the Patriots first game, they were making all the, taking advantage of people's mistakes. And that's why they were playing good football. And now they're not good. But this team not, turning the ball over and just playing consistent. And this guy's hitting guys all over the field, throwing bombs, the play calling, throwing to the fat guy. I love that one. So the bottom line is, if you play error-free football, you have a chance to win every game you play.
Who gets the ball? There was a lot of talk about this last night. Obviously, the big guy, that was his first ever NFL touchdown. It was actually Daniel's first passing NFL touchdown. Who keeps that ball, Scotty? I think it's got to be the big guy. I think the big guy's got to keep that ball. I mean, he ain't ever going to touch the ball again.
He deserves it.
You got to let the big fella. Big fella gets the rock for that one. Let's go to the Bengals side of things, of course. What a shame. 0-3 to start their season. All 3 games, one-score losses. Patriots, Chiefs, and now to the Washington football team. Now, after the game, the cameras caught Burrow and Zach Taylor kind of going into some side door to have a meeting after the game was over, away from the locker room. The media, of course, went and asked Joe about what was going on there, and here's him talking about it and the 0-3 start.
It was a very positive conversation. We're not happy with where we're at, but by no means is the season over. We're 0-3. There's 14 left to play. We just have to continue to get better and see where the cards fall in the next 10 weeks, whenever the bye is. So we just got to go into this week preparing to get better and trying to get a win. That's all you can do.
He's a little shook.
They can't blame him.
Honestly.
They can't blame him.
No.
He's not the reason they're losing. I mean, he's still doing his thing.
I think you look at each of the last 2 weeks, right? The Kansas City game and this game. I don't think you could put either of those on the shoulders of Joe Burrow. I think he's played well, and you saw Chase come back last night and get 2 touchdowns. Higgins was out there, making himself known. So Bengal offense was not the issue whatsoever. Their defense, though, Scotty, is pathetic, and it was really bad last night against Washington. So they're 0-3 at Carolina next week, where they're 4.5-point road favorites, by the way. And then they play the Ravens the week after that in Cincinnati. So Bengals need to, and then they, like you said, they haven't even played a North game yet. Bengals, they got the Ravens, Giants, Browns, Eagles. That it ain't looking easy, especially when you start 0-3.
What a shame. I'm so heartbroken that they're losing. Look, Chase talks big, and he wasn't getting targets, and now he is. And he's catching touchdown passes. So when you get those 2 guys going, you would think they'd win some games, and they just haven't. Eventually, the talent rises to the top, and those 2 are going to convert. They're going to win games. I don't believe that they're as bad. Like when they played Kansas City, they should have won that game. They played their ass off. They played great in that game. They had them right where they wanted them. You fumble late in a game in the fourth quarter in the NFL, I don't care who you are, that mistake will cost you every time. In money time, in the fourth quarter, you make that error, you're going to lose every time. So they've kind of, made their own problems for themselves, but now they're starting to get these 2 clicking. You would think they'd win. Lamar got it going. Once they won, I think they're going to keep winning.
Bengals now plus 122 to make the playoffs. So plus money for them to make the playoffs after an 0-3 start. Very, very tough hill to climb.
Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
No.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind L.A., that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
So let's hear some of this Allen magic from the B-Lo last night. Like when Coleman had his moment with Allen, everybody got a taste last night. Let's hear some of this.
Everybody certainly did. Coleman actually, Scotty, didn't play the first quarter of the game. McDermott sat him something about showing up late to something, whether it was a meeting or a practice. So Coleman finally did get out there in the second quarter. Bills were already rolling, but Josh Allen decided to give his rookie wide receiver his first ever NFL touchdown. Westwood One Sports.
Extra offensive lineman once more, and Alec Anderson. Play fake from under center. Allen all day in the pocket. Lob, open target. 5, touchdown! Keon Coleman tight to the right sideline. 24 yards. 6:19 to go in the second quarter. It's Buffalo 19, Jacksonville 3.
So Mr. Personality now catching tutties and getting it done. He's going to be special. And when you throw to 10 different guys, they got an offense now that's better than when they had the cancer and Diggs, who was, throwing temper tantrums, fits on the sideline, blaming everyone. Now everybody's just getting theirs and having fun doing it.
They certainly are. He threw to 10 different receivers last night in that game. 10 different guys got a pass thrown to him. Much different from the days of Stephon Diggs. In fact, Scotty, when you even hear Allen talk about this stuff after the game, which I'm going to play you right now, he loves that everybody has the right mindset, knows that it could be their night, any night. Here's Josh.
It could be your play, this play. You never know when it's going to happen, and that's the beauty of it. When guys get to buy into this and really understand, like, I may not get the ball 4 or 5 times thrown to me a game, but the 1 or 2 times I do, I'm going to have opportunities to be in the end zone.
This guy, did you see how much fun he was having last night? I mean, it was such a joke on the sideline. They were literally laughing at how easy it was to score and how everybody was getting in on it. Like, everyone got a piece of it, and it was just ridiculous. So I've never seen him this happy. Through the years, he's always had this guy screaming at him, and he's, tried to be cool about it on the sideline, on the bench. He kind of ignored Diggs, and now he's gone. And it's like, almost like the guy got rid of an ex-wife. Seriously, this guy was nagging him and giving him the business. None of these guys on this team now do that to him. They're all just enjoying playing with a guy because he's a stud.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of it. And I'm not saying that even the other veterans that left, Scotty, like guys who have been around the team for a long time on defense and offense, Morse the center, Hyde and Poyer, like once those guys left, he became the no doubt about it leader of that football team for everybody. And I think it's his team. It's his show. He's having a blast. They're winning football games. They're 9-1. The Brady thing's important. 9-1 since they changed to Joe Brady last year. And you know what else he's not doing, Scotty? Not turning the ball over. No interceptions through the first 3 games of the season either. Something that used to always be a problem for Josh Allen. He's not turning the foot. He's not fumbling, and he's not throwing it to the other team. So that also makes a huge
having that
difference.
guy have fun and not running every time, taking dangerous hits. Now he's got guys he can count on. And you gave the stats. It's real simple. And you look at him for MVP. You said it at the beginning of the season. If this guy plays, without Diggs and gets everybody involved, he's going to have a shot. And now he's having these huge games. And I think he's kind of standing out above all other, big-time quarterbacks. I think he's even playing better than Mahomes. I think the Chiefs, are winning like usual. But what this guy's doing with the Bills is special. He's a badass. And he's only getting better. And people can't believe it because they think, oh, he's this guy from Wyoming and he's a hillbilly and all this other stuff. He's a stud, and he just keeps getting better. It blows my mind.
I'm going to give you the full board later on with the MVP after week number 3. But, yes, he is now the favorite. He was 4-1 before the game last night. He's 2-1 now. He's ahead of Mahomes on the odds boards. So that's where Allen has gone. With this 3-0 start in terms of the MVP for the NFL. I'll give you everybody later on, though. There's a few names that have moved up that board in the last few weeks. We'll come back. I want to just finish this game by giving you a little something with the Jaguars because they're pathetic, and then we'll start to look into some stuff for this week. I got tons of injury news. We got Dallas and the Giants starting on Thursday night. Very, very busy. We turn the page to week number 4.
I can't believe Lawrence has lost his last 8 starts. It's unbelievable what's happened to him.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all season long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Brew Crew has already clinched the National League Central. They're 2 games behind LA, that being the Dodgers, trying to maybe get the 2nd seed in the National League standings for October.
Both of these teams have a chance to score some runs against these pitching matchups, so maybe another over, even though we do have a playoff atmosphere. And yes, Milwaukee did clinch, but there's still an eye on the prize of we might be able to chase down the Dodgers and also the Phillies to get one of those buys.
The early line. only on SportsGrid.